What's good, people? It's about that time to randomly relate reverse rants, no hate. So, I got a question. This video is about a question. It's not going to be long either. It's going to be short. And an idea, just a thought. Anthony Joshua was supposed to fight Big Pharmacy Miller, and at that point, we didn't call him Big Pharmacy Miller because at that point he gave us this squeaky clean image in terms of being clean as a fighter. And he accused AJ of taking shit, just to come to find out this guy was taking something. And then, after so many months went by, a year and a half or whatever, and then he finally comes out talking about how it wasn't what people thought. It's something in his system. He don't know how it got there, blah, 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 and all this nonsense. And basically failed again. So, Big Pharmacy Miller. Now, before the fight was supposed to happen, Serafina did an interview and she spoke about Joey DeWaco. She clearly said it. She didn't speculate. She didn't do no side talking. She clearly said Joey DeWaco called and told her that, hey, tell Jarell, don't worry about nothing. He gonna have an easy night. I just concussed Anthony Joshua. Okay. Then that makes her go, oh shit, okay. Easy night. And then all of a sudden, Big Pharmacy Miller pops dirty. He's out the picture. So Team AJ is trying to find another solid opponent. Who can we go in there and make our American debut against? So now he comes. He doesn't say anything about being concussed. He doesn't talk about it. So we don't know about it at this point. But he goes in there against Andy Ruiz. So this is a completely different fight. Different style than what he's going to get with Big Pharmacy Miller. But he goes in there and they fight. We know what happened. We know how it ended. So this was the thing I was thinking about. It doesn't really matter. It wouldn't change anything because what happened happened. But I was just thinking, like, what if Anthony Joshua didn't have that concussion situation and Big Pharmacy Miller didn't pop dirty? Who would have won that fight between the two of them? I mean, we'll never know. Now, Anthony Joshua being concussed probably would have, maybe still would have lost. But the thing about Big Pharmacy Miller, he doesn't really have power at all, man. He hits soft to be a big ass heavyweight. He doesn't have big power. And he's slow. So maybe Anthony Joshua would have been able to avoid his shots. Whereas Ruiz really has the fastest hands in the heavyweight division. But if you know how to time him and nullify his shit, and he showed you even, I mean, there's other people, but especially against look at lately. You got to look at his work that he's done more prior. Like his latest work, not way back. Look at what he did against Chris Arreola. Chris Arreola, who's a journeyman, stood right in front of him. And was getting him in the business until, But at the end of the day, I always thought about that. Like, I wonder, because you never know. Well, what would have happened? I don't always think about it. I just thought about it. Like, I did think about it then. But I was thinking about it, and the reason it came back to me now, because they have Big Pharmacy Miller actually ranked all of a sudden. Without doing anything, he's ranked. But what would have happened? Now, Big Pharmacy Miller's style, how he comes in, he's a pressure fighter. He's similar to Joe Joyce. Comes with the pressure constantly just coming in. And he's similar to Joe Joyce in the fact that they're two big men that don't really hit that hard. Just the weight behind your shots and the constant pressure. Would he have been able to, would he have been able to wear Anthony Joshua out? Would AJ have knocked him out? Because this is an AJ Now we talk about a confident AJ. We're talking about an AJ who none of these fighters, none of these heavyweights are on my level. We talking about that AJ. What would have happened? Would he have been able? Would he have been able to knock out Big Pharmacy Miller? And Big Pharmacy Miller is there to be hit. He's definitely there to be hit. Now, in my opinion, at that point, now a concussed AJ, I can't say. I mean, who knows? It's not like Big Pharmacy Miller's a shit fighter, but I'm not impressed with him. And he is easy to hit, and he's very slow. He's slow, and he's just heavy, but he comes forward constantly with the pressure. Now, personally, I think Anthony Joshua, the Anthony Joshua that we once knew, I think he beats Jarell Miller. I think he pounds on him. I think Jarell Miller's ego gets the best of him. He's getting hit. He's lunging in with them wild shots. And I think that Anthony Joshua stops him. And if he doesn't knock him out, gets into where he hurts him, and the ref steps in, and okay. Now, on the other hand, depending on how Anthony Joshua uses his smarts, because Anthony Joshua doesn't throw a lot of whole extra shit. He throws precise shots. He's like, he'll jab, and I think that depending on how he fights, as long as he doesn't allow Miller to, overwhelm him with that pressure, and he's just throwing shit crazy and wear himself out. If he doesn't do that, because if he gets tired, Jarell Miller will bring that pressure all night. So I feel like the best chance, let me put it like that he has to beat AJ is getting AJ exhausted. And it's not so much him getting AJ exhausted, but AJ, if he's fighting the wrong strategy and he's exerting too much energy too soon. But if AJ is sticking that jab in his face and catching him with that right hand hard and flush, catching him with the comment how he used to, at times throw his little 2 and 3 pieces, like, I think AJ beats him. But I can't guarantee that. You never know what you don't know. And one thing about Anthony Joshua that a lot of people overlook is Anthony Joshua won his title on, I think, his 15th or 16th fight. So after he beat Charles Martin, his very next fight was against Klitschko. So every fight that he had has been a world title defense. He's been fighting it from the Povetkins. He had already fought Dylan White before that. He fought forget the goofy guy name that Wilder knocked out in the first round. But he fought these guys. He gave a lot of fighters their first loss, and everything was top level fighters. That's what. So he wasn't in that position of, let me pick and choose and fight a lesser fight. No, he was fighting all the top people. Then you had, a situation where the fighter got to be replaced because this guy's not there. He fought guys that had more experience than he did. You understand? So all his fights was tough fights. And then even for people to say, but such and such fought this guy and this, 4 or 5 years later, you fought a guy like Dominic Brazil, for example. He was a mandatory. I don't know how the hell he was Wilder's mandatory because he didn't do shit. But Wilder fought him years ago. Who gave Dominic Brazil his first loss? It was Anthony Joshua. So Dominic Brazil, all these guys, this is when they were all at their best. There's other guys, I can't even remember the names at this point right now, whatever, but like these guys wind up fighting other fighters years after they fought Anthony Joshua. 2-3 years apart, something like that. 4 years apart. These guys end up fighting and people praise them and how they're very savvy and all this, how experienced and skilled they are. So AJ hadn't been in the sport longer than any of those guys. Only two people that's had short careers like him, like short amateur experience and all, and just was Dylan White and Wilder. All those other guys, they was more experienced, Pavekis, all these guys. So when he goes in there and he fights these guys, it's like, okay, I'm gonna fight this guy, and then I got this guy, and it's just top guy, top guy. So him learning on the job was different from Wilder because Wilder was the champ. Wilder was fighting guys that was ranked 400 something in the world, 300 something in the world. Y'all know I'll pull these opponents up and put it. It's in my archives. Y'all know that. I'll put it there. Showed y'all the opponents while he was ranked. He was fighting guys. While he was a champ, he was fighting guys that wasn't even ranked. You fighting guys ranked 376 in the world, 413 and the stuff like that. He was fighting guys that terrible. He was learning on the job. But fighting guys, that wasn't shit. Anthony Joshua was learning on the job, but fighting nothing but the best fighters. Now, say he didn't fight Charles Martin and get that belt. Maybe he goes on to be 25-0, something like that. Maybe he still fights Klitschko somewhere, but not at his 16th or 17th fight. Maybe, like I said, 25 fights in, if Klitschko would have still been around. But let's just say, even if he did fight him when he did, but it was for no title, he get to pick and choose to just, okay, because he's honing his skills to get better. But once you break in to the top 10, you become champion. Ain't no going backwards, man. So you win, you win. You lose, you lose. This is just, I'm explaining, like, this is how it went. So they just wonder, like, what would have happened between the two? Like, who y'all think would have won? Now, a concussed Anthony Joshua, I'm going to go with Jarell Miller because it didn't take a big punch to put him down by Andy Ruiz. Let's just be real. He was just falling when he was getting, even though how he was arms all flying all over the place, he really was terrible that night. So what I'm saying is a non-concussed, if Anthony Joshua went in there with the same hunger and mentality that he had, he wasn't concussed. No Andy Ruiz in the picture. It's him versus Jarell Miller. Who y'all think won that fight? How you think the fight would have went? Let me know in the comment section. Never fall in love with lies. Remember, the truth brings hate out of people, and I will catch y'all in the next video.